following is a GNC podcast production. Welcome to Geek Addicts, a pop culture podcast.
Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where we talk about all things geek. My name is Matt. With me, he just got finished fighting a giant glove, Bill Barber. How's it going, Bill?
Oh, it is good. I thought you were going to somehow just know the GNC episode I just recorded with Alex, but
I wish that'd be a weirdly specific power.
Yeah.
I know exactly what the topic that you just recorded was.
Yeah, I was like, is he gonna somehow just pull a Houdini and know exactly what we were talking about? But no, the glove is just as funny. At first I thought you were making a Glover reference, but then I realized, oh wait, no, the Master Hand.
Yeah,
little hint.
Well, it's funny because I couldn't remember if it was me or you, and I didn't prepare one ahead of time, so I literally just pulled that out of nowhere because I couldn't think of anything else.
It's all right. That's what I do for most episodes. So
that's fair.
Oh.
So how's your week been?
It's kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I have not slept.
I feel that.
I have not slept well at all this week.
Yeah, I feel that definitely. France has been waking up a lot earlier lately, so that's been frustrating, especially when it's because it's a weird thing where when I don't have work, she tends to sleep decent. If I don't have work the next day, she'll sleep until 7:30. And then even the days where Cindy doesn't have to get up with me, those days, whether I'm gonna be there or not, if Cindy has the option to sleep in, she wakes up mad early every time.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing. I don't know. It's just weird, the way that she is between me and Cindy. So we've learned more things about Daima.
We have. There's been some interesting drops.
Mm-hmm. So, we all knew that it was going to be coming out October 11th. At least for the past few weeks, we've known that. And supposedly the dub will not be far behind, so it's not going to be another super situation where we're waiting a year and a half, 2 years for a dub.
Where a rival dub somehow comes out first before the Funimation dub. I still don't get how that happened.
Yeah, who knows? So yeah, that's cool on its own, but the word around the grapevine, as you pointed out to me, is that Stephanie Nadolny will be returning as Kid Goku, which still isn't technically officially confirmed yet. But almost immediately after you told me, I happened to see that a popular Dragon Ball YouTuber, Geekdom 101, had posted pretty much stating that as a statement of fact. And he generally tends to know the inner workings of shit that's going on. So if he's just flat out saying it, I'm fairly positive that will be the case, and I'm very excited about it.
If it is true and she is coming back, I'm really curious to how her performance is going to be, just because she hasn't done. When was the last time she actually did the voice? I guess as Kid Gohan, probably during the Cell arc, right?
No, GT.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's hilarious how much I just wiped GT from my memory.
Yeah. So I think GT would be the last anime thing. She did video games after that, but around the time where Kai came out, around 20 or 09, 2010, around that point where the Kai switch happened, that would have been the point where she stopped even in video games. So it's been a good while to say the least.
Yeah, I saw that and I immediately I was like, oh, this could be interesting if it's true.
Yeah, so I'm very, very. This is Brian Drummond's copy Vegeta big.
Yeah, especially because that literally saved that filler arc.
no kidding. But I also I've learned a few more details about just the series itself. Apparently, unlike pretty much anything else Dragon Ball that's ever come out before, the story is pretty much entirely mapped out. It's not going to be just a long running, like seat of the pants written kind of series. It has a clear beginning and a clear end that they're working towards. Supposedly, it's going to be about the length that GT was, so it's not going to be like, you know, super long, overstaying its welcome kind of thing. So that's good. I'm excited to see a Dragon Ball series that follows the kind of like the kind of formula that more modern anime has. So that's going to be interesting.
I'm kind of interested because not only is Goku de-aged, but like all the characters are de-aged, and other than a few of them, like none of them had like younger voices. So I'm wondering how they're going to approach the younger sounding voice. I actually laugh at Vegeta. It's just Sabat doing the same voice, just for the irony of it.
Well, I'm pretty sure all the scenes that we've had of young Vegeta throughout Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that's true.
Stuff,
I forgot it was young Vegeta.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's just him doing like a more kidified version of that voice. Because we got a little bit of Kid Vegeta in Battle of Gods and Super Broly and stuff like that. So
forgot about those scenes, to be honest.
Ooh, I wonder if the original voice of Kid Krillin is going to come back.
She came back for that one scene in Super, so I don't see why not.
I hope so, because I don't know why. Just that particular voice just really brings me back whenever I hear it, like the Kid Krillin voice.
It'd be cool if they got Laura Bailey to come back as Chi-Chi, but I doubt it'll happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I mean, if Persona can barely get her sometimes.
True.
I mean, she did come back for Fruit Baskets.
She came back for Fruits Basket. She came back for
She came back for Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yu Yu Hakusho. She has popped in as Naruto's mom from time to time in recent years, so it's possible. It's definitely possible.
So we'll see.
I wonder what kind of voice we're gonna get for Kid Piccolo.
Did he speak for like his like 2 scenes as a kid in the original Dragon Ball?
Yeah, and it was like a weird Stitch voice.
Bring it back. Let's do this.
So I'm really interested to see where this. I wonder what Kid Mr. Satan is going to sound. This is going to be so memeable when this comes out.
Kid Mr. Satan,
I guarantee.
Kid Mr. Satan better have the same fucking voice, just for the irony of it.
It'd be amazing. I just want like an actress to just do a fucking Chris Rager impression.
Yeah. Daima is definitely going to be interesting just because I want to understand the concept of what's going on.
Yeah. Also, it's going to be airing at 11:30 p.m. in Japan, which means this is going to be much more violent than Dragon Ball Super was, which aired like early morning Sundays over in Japan. So just the fact of where the time slot is when it's going to be airing, like you can generally tell like what kind of action you're going to be seeing. So we're probably going to be seeing more blood in this series than we did in the Super. So that's exciting.
Nice. Ooh.
But I'm just so ready. I'm so ready.
Yeah. Oh man.
But I'm also excited for tomorrow because tomorrow I'm pretty much just going to be on my own. Like I have work until like noon, and then probably should be like hanging out for a while. Like I got to do a little bit of shopping stuff with Cindy, but she's going out for the night with some friends. So I'm pretty much just gonna have like full reign of the house. So I'm planning on just streaming a shit ton tomorrow. And I got an emulator all set up on my computer for Game Boy Advance, so I might stream some Legacy Goku. We'll see.
Nice.
I mean, by the time this episode comes out, it'll already be like a month past, but still.
Oh yeah, because we have surprisingly, Geek Addicts has a large backlog at the moment.
Yes, which is nice. It takes the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah, no, we kind of lucked out having those classic episodes coming out, which at the time of this recording, at least 2 of them have been released.
Yeah, I don't even know when you're planning on releasing the next one, but
Yeah, when the need rises, essentially.
fair enough.
Boy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually get out of work before you do tomorrow.
That's weird. Well, you also go in earlier. I'm not going in until like 7.
Oh, well, I'm going in at 5, so
I mean, I would, but you know, I'm not going to.
yeah.
um, but yeah, I hit episode 1,000 of One Piece today.
Oh, nice.
Yep, it was it kind of felt like I kind of like what they did, where they kind of did like they kind of did like it's like in the middle of the Wano arc, like during the big battle that's leading up to like the finale, uh, which is still a ways away, honestly. But it was kind of weird the way they did it, because you could tell that they like put a bunch of budget into it, make the animations and stuff look good, but it like they almost turned it into a clip show, and it kind of felt like a cheap way of like being like, "Hey, episode 1,000, we did it, guys." But then they're just like, "All right, so we're just not going to give you much actual material for what's going on. We're just going to give you a little, like, because the stuff was still happening, but they were showing clips of each character like throughout the series as like kind of like a celebration thing. So we only got like maybe what I get mounted to like a couple of pages worth of manga material in that episode, because they put so much focus into like, hey, 1,000 episodes thing. But
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I am like, as much as I am really enjoying Wano, it's been really fun going through it. The quality is absolutely stunning. Like, it's practically movie quality all the way through, which is outrageous considering it's like a 200 episode arc. But it also, as a lifetime Dragon Ball fan, kind of makes me a little butthurt
That they get this and Super got what Super got.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I mean, Super came around eventually, and part of it is because like they had zero production time for Super. Like, they had 3 months to fucking throw something together, which is outrageous. Like, I feel bad for whoever worked on that. But no, as a lifetime Dragon Ball, especially since Dragon Ball fans have been getting the shaft from One Piece for a bit. At this point, pretty much since Battle of Gods, like the Dragon Ball Resurrection, One Piece has just been constantly one-upping Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a certain somebody is perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I get it. Like, trust me, I like One Piece. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying my time with it. And honestly, by the time I finish Wano, I'm probably going to be sitting there like, what do I do now? But there is that part of me that's just a little bit vengeful about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than what Inuyasha fans get. We get a sequel series that all it did was split the fan base. So,
I mean, to be fair, Super split the fan base pretty hard too.
Yeah, but not for the same reasons that the Yashahime did.
That's fair. But
yeah.
That's what I've been up to this week.
Yeah, I've been this is my 4th podcast of the week, so I'm very
a little burnt out.
Most of not really burnt out, because podcasting doesn't really burn me out. It's more I just, in terms of productiveness this week, I got like no gaming done, I got no anime watching done, no manga reading done for my free time stuff. I did write 2 blog posts though for the Superpod website, so those will eventually be coming out.
Yeah, I got to get on that. Hey, I got to write one for the game club, and I got to write one for the anime arcs.
Yeah, because I think,
I mean, I decided on the arcs I'm going to choose. They're not like my all-time favorite arcs, but I just figured I'd choose something that was a little bit different.
I think we're only doing I think we're only doing 1 arc, so now.
I thought we were doing 2.
Yeah, that changed at some point, because I went to go write 2, and then there was only
great.
1.
Now I got to whittle it down again. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh, at the time of this recording, that's probably already going to be out. But
hopefully,
anyway.
if I stop dragging my feed, maybe I'll try to make some time to do that tomorrow. How long did you make yours? Is it?
It's not that long. I covered a Dragon Ball arc, so it wasn't super. I ended up going with the Dragon Ball arc.
I'm glad I didn't choose Dragon Ball then, because I had a feeling somebody else was going to.
But Yeah, so there's things to look forward on that front. I'm hoping this weekend I'll actually watch some anime and just relax because I am still kind of buried in bills right now, so I'm kind of cutting back right now. So I got to catch up on stuff that I haven't actually. I got to catch up on the media I already own, I should say.
I feel you. Well, I was considering, like, as opposed to just streaming games the whole night, I was considering, like, once I hit like a certain point, switching to like watch party thing. So I mean, you could always watch some anime together if you're up for it.
Yeah, it depends what. Let's see how tomorrow at work goes, and then I'll let you know.
Fair enough. It would be like later on, but
yeah,
we'll touch base on that then.
But in case anyone wondered from the intro that we had for this episode, we are actually going to be covering. We're going back to games because we haven't really talked games in a while on the show. It's been very sporadic, kind of all over the place with our topics lately.
It's been pretty anime heavy lately.
Anime and yeah, we have. But for this episode, we're going to be talking about a classic franchise that many people are probably familiar with. It is we're going to be talking about Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
This was a series that I completely missed up until right around like the late 2000s, I want to say.
The late 2000s. Wow. Okay.
Well, I didn't. You got to remember, I didn't have a Nintendo console until the Wii, so
that's fair. Well, I didn't. Actually, I think technically my first Nintendo console was a GameCube, but I got a Wii like right after that, so I ended up selling my GameCube because I could just play the GameCube games on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think technically I'm right with you. I didn't actually own an N64 until I was an adult in my 20s. So
yeah, I think I got my N64 when I was like 16. So like way later in life.
Yeah, I remember playing the original one way back. Actually, I think it must have been the late 90s because I was young.
See, the reason I have no nostalgia for the original Smash Brothers is I didn't play it until like 2012.
That's
like when
wild to me.
Well, I didn't know Smash Brothers. I didn't have an N64, like, so I missed that entire thing. I didn't play Smash Brothers until 2012 when I found it at a flea market. Because I tried playing it on an emulator, and my God, trying to play that game on an emulator with a keyboard was a fucking nightmare.
I can imagine. See, I like I said, I didn't have an N64, but pretty much everybody that I knew had one. So I always had it available to me. I just had to go to other people's houses.
See, that's how I got my first experience with Smash Brothers as well, because I first played Melee at a friend's house, like in the late 2000s. Like, this is like the Wii was out, but Brawl wasn't yet. So it was like Melee. People were still playing Melee like nonstop, and I remember thinking like, this is the most ridiculous shit ever. Because so I'll preface now, I am not one to play like if I go to a Smash Brothers party and it's no items, like only flat stages, I'm not gonna play because that's boring to me.
Yeah, I feel like. Well, I mean, I like flat stages just because like I get fucked by like the random like stage traps that happen all the time so often.
See,
and that's just me being an idiot, you know. That's
See, Smash Brothers to me as a fighter, like it has interesting mechanics, but it's not a very engaging fighter in my opinion by itself. Like if I want to play a one-on-one fighter, I'm gonna play like a Street Fighter or like a Tekken or something.
Oh yeah, Smash Brothers is definitely not a one-on-one kind of game.
It can be, game. But it's just not for me. Like the way I have fun with Smash Brothers is the pure pandemonium and chaos of like having like all items to max, like just insane shit happening at all times, like 4 players at once. Because when you take all that stuff out, it just kind of it's boring. And if you're up against a player who's like really good at the game, it's just not fun because they're gonna just kick your ass every time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm strictly on team items and party mode, like have fun, not competition.
Yeah, well, that's the way I see it. Is the best way to play Smash is on the couch with three buddies or family members or whatever. Uh, items on, just casual fucking around. And depending on how close your skill level is, that'll determine whether or not you're on stock or time. But
Yeah, yeah. God, Melee is such an interesting game because like I'll revisit it nowadays every now and then, and I'm always fascinated by it because it is such a when you inherently look at Melee, it is kind of a bare bones game.
I haven't played Melee since it was the current game, so it's probably the one I played the least, honestly.
So I played Melee. Like Melee was like I always remember because I bought my GameCube for $5, and then I paid 60 for Melee.
It's about right.
Think about that one for a minute. And I remember like because I played it at the friend's house, and then of course I had to get a copy. Like I got when I realized the Wii could play GameCube games, I was like, I need a copy of this, and I bought it. And then I realized, fuck, I don't have a GameCube controller, so I can't play it. So I had to get a GameCube controller.
Classic.
I played a lot of Melee. Melee is just like it's surprising to me, like how it besides like the adventure mode, it's really just like the combat like stuff, and there's a good amount of stuff, but like compared to say like all the games after it, it is kind of bare, but it has some highly frantic and really tight combat, which I think is the reason why it kind of has stuck around so long.
Well, I feel like just from what I've heard from like online communities and stuff, that I feel like Melee is pretty much the one that people have decided is like the definitive competitive Smash Brothers.
It's super quick, very snappy, like it's very understandable why. Because I know when it came to Brawl, like Sakurai, for those who don't know, is the guy who he's pretty much the creative director of the Smash Brothers series. He's the creator of Kirby, which is why Kirby was broken as fuck in a lot of the games.
Mm-hmm.
And especially Meta Knight in a certain game was also very broken. But I will say Sakurai actually disliked how competitive heavy Melee was, and that's why he made Brawl super uncompetitive.
Makes sense.
Like why he put
is that why the Smash Ball is a thing?
I don't think it's directly for that. I think it's just more why like he made like Brawl slower, and like he added like tripping, which is designed deliberately to fuck players up.
That's fair.
But I have to ask, do you remember the hype train behind Brawl?
Oh yeah, that's like one of the few games that like I was fully aware of like how much suspense was building up over that game's release.
Like I remember like so for those who were either like too young to remember or weren't following it at the time, like Smash Brothers Brawl had by far one of the most insane like build-ups and like hype like reveals up until it finally came out. Like there was this thing called the Smash Brothers Dojo, which was like a website that you would go on, and it was like every day, like at like I think it was like midnight or something because of the timing in Japan. They'd reveal a new piece of content, which would either be like a new fighter or like a new stage or something. And I know like some mad lads were like they would stay up like until like the time it released just to see what the new content was, even though they could have just waited till morning to check it because it was going to be there regardless.
Yeah.
But I remember stuff like that. I remember the famous. Do you remember the character reveal trailers?
Not particularly.
I remember vividly like the one where like they revealed Sonic was going to be in it was huge.
Yeah, well, Sonic being added into Smash in general was definitely a huge deal.
Sonic and Solid Snake. I always thought Solid Snake was a really weird choice at the time, but
I loved playing as Snake though in Brawl. It was so much fun.
It was. Well, apparently
Is he still not in Ultimate?
No, he's in Ultimate.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's in Ultimate.
Oh, okay. I feel like there was maybe I'm thinking of the 3DS one.
He wasn't in Wii U and 3DS.
Right. Okay. Because Ultimate, I haven't played a super because that technically I own it, but it's Xander's game, so he usually has it in his case, so I don't play it very often.
Yeah, it's I remember like the reveal for that because like apparently the story goes is like Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear, he basically begged Sakurai to put Snake in Smash,
Yeah.
which had basically opened the door to third party characters. Um, yeah, I
And they've
remember
really gone full tilt with that.
I'm all for it, honestly. Like I love how insane the roster in Smash Brothers Ultimate is at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. It's almost overwhelming, honestly.
Yeah, there's so many damn fighters. Um, yeah, Brawl though, like the build up for Brawl, because I remember like just the amount of people like who were hyped for that game, and then it came out, and like I think I played Brawl for I think like 4 months straight. Like that was just the only game I played.
Yeah, me too. I was like, because Brawl had, I don't remember if Melee did or not, but I know Brawl had that like story mode.
So Melee had this very basic adventure mode that like kind of was just like it was like a linear path of like stages that had some vague storyline elements, but it really wasn't it wasn't a full on fleshed out story like the Subspace Emissary was.
Mhm.
Because the Subspace Emissary that was a bizarre story going on there.
Yeah. It's been so long since I played the Brawl story. I don't even remember a ton of details about what it entailed.
It was just kind of like these like this kind of like weird like combined world, but there was like these like portals like that were just kind of absorbing everything.
You know what? I should talk to my brother because I know I left the Wii at my mom's house because I knew that he was playing it for a while. And then for a little bit, my sister was playing it, but I don't think either of them have touched it. I might just because Xander's been asking for a Wii. For some reason he wants a Wii. So I might just see if I could just take that because I know Xander would like it, and I wouldn't mind dipping into Brawl again. It's been a long time.
Mm. Yeah, I also remember the Brawl opening theme composed by the legendary Nobuo Uematsu from Final Fantasy fame is like one of my favorite openings to a video game ever.
I remember loving that one. Yeah,
it's so unnecessarily epic.
but I don't know if I mean I think it's absolutely necessary for a game like Brawl.
It's so funny when you compare it to like the original Smash Brothers or like the Melee like openings where they're awesome, but they're not like that where it's so fucking grand for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because then Ultimate has just a straight up anime opening, which I also kind of like.
That's pretty cool. So you don't have like the like super level nostalgia for it the way I do because you played it so late. Because I
Smash 64.
Yeah, Smash in general, but yes, 64 specifically. Because I remember I think my first experience with Smash Brothers was when my mom was still a single mom at the time. I must have been, because based on where we were living, I must have been 5, maybe 6. So it was still like late 90s. And my earliest memory of it was my neighbor across the street. I think it was winter because I remember there being snow. And my neighbor across the street had Smash Brothers, and I was playing with him and his older brother, and I thought it was the coolest friggin' thing because this is around the time when Pokemon was like first coming out over here, and it was like first starting to build traction, and the original had Pikachu and Jigglypuff, and then like all these other characters I had no idea about because I'm still to this day I've never played F-Zero, I've never played Star Fox, never played a Kirby game, but like all these random colorful characters from different games, and even not knowing who they were, it was still just like such a wild experience, and like all the different kinds of stages that they had, and even in the early game where there was only what 10 stages.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton.
It was like 10 stages and 12 fighters. So
yeah,
it's like okay,
Smash 64 is very, very bare bones.
But like as much as the newer games are great games, don't get me wrong, there's still a part of me that like would rather just play the OG.
See,
Like with the N64 controller and all. Sorry, Alex.
See, nostalgia is a hell of a thing because like I have zero for that game and I find it very just kind of it's fine, but I'd rather play like Brawl or or Ultimate or something.
I get that. I get it. But in a way, I kind of see it like how you and I have that nostalgia and that preference for like, say, the original Lego Star Wars. But then this new generation is going to see the Skywalker saga and say, this is the better one. And I understand why they think that. I understand why they have that opinion. But like us growing up with the original, like we see that as like, this is what this is. And that's kind of the way I feel about it.
Mm. No, I get
I understand why people like the later games. And I understand why it's like they are like unarguably better games, like without a doubt. But there's just a part of me that just feels more at home, with the old game.
I mean, the old game does have like the greatest video game commercial like ever.
Mm-hmm.
The one of all the mascots playing in the field and like Happy Together's playing in the background, and then thunder strikes and they just start beating the shit out of each other. Video game commercials were so fucking different then.
Wild back then. Oh, man.
I mean, Nintendo used to have some bangers back in the day before they got super corporate.
Oh yeah. And then even going beyond like the old nostalgia, like there was a point in my early 20s where we like me and like my group of friends used to go over this guy's house, and he had an N64 set up, and the only game he had was Smash. And it was like a consistent thing where we would all go over and we just hang out, smoke pot, and just play a shit ton of Smash Brothers, like old school. And we'd swap out, like, whoever did the worst in the level, like, would swap out with whoever's waiting, and it was just a great time. It was great. Like, it's just an experience when you play Smash Brothers with people, like, hanging out in the living room. It's one of those games where it's like Mario Kart. It's one of those games where you just have like a ton of fun playing with people. And it's different when you play it online. It's not the same.
No, it's not. It's definitely one of like the greatest examples of a couch co-op game. Where you need the people, like you need the people there with you so you can gauge their reactions, or you can look them in the face as you grab them as Donkey Kong and jump off the stage.
Yep.
just so they can see the glee in your eyes that you just did that. We've all done that, but there's also like I went to so many Christmas parties over the years where there would just be Smash Brothers on the TV, and that's, I swear, what half the people would do the entire party.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh man, it's just like one of those games that's like, it's very easy to pick up, but it's very hard to master, I guess is like the best way to say it.
Yeah, there was a point, especially when we were at that point where we were all going over that friend's house and playing all together. I was trying really, really hard to get good with Jigglypuff, and I got okay. I'm not gonna say that I got really good, or I like, got it to the point where I could beat everybody. And I never got that good, but I've come in second with Jigglypuff before, and I gotta say, there's a certain bragging right where you could just laugh at your friend and say, "Ha, I beat you with your main using Jigglypuff."
I still remember Brawl when like the Final Smashes showed up. Like Final Smashes were to me like one of like the greatest things ever from like an idea standpoint, but some of them just fucking sucked so hard.
Oh yeah, like fucking Ganondorf's I think
that, what is his? I forget, because I know they changed.
Is that one where he just kind of like turns into like a giant like ox or whatever the hell? Or
wait, he turns into like Ganon and then like runs around. Because I know they updated a lot of them for Smash 4 and then Ultimate, like, because some of the Brawl Final Smashes were not great. Like I always remember like the first Final Smash I ever saw in action was like Mario's, where he like launches that massive fireball across the screen. But then I remember the first time I saw it happen, the person fucking missed, and I was like, well, that was cool. Because I remember like Sonic's, like Supersonic was broken as fuck back in the day.
Yeah, Supersonic was great.
Just
Also,
like now.
Samus's, because that just covered the entire fucking screen. You could not get away from it.
Oh yeah. Because Samus originally had they split the character in two because it was Samus and Zero Suit Samus, and in the later games it's two separate characters, but in like Brawl it's like a one thing, and when you use her final smash, that's how you become Zero Suit.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Luigi's was like this weird acid trip in the first game.
I don't remember his.
He just gets like psychedelic and like it puts all the characters to sleep. It's weird.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like there was another one that did a similar thing. I
There
don't know.
was a few.
It took a while for them to like really come up with like really specific individual final smashes for everybody.
I remember like Bowser would become like Giga Bowser. That's another thing we should talk about. But like you'd be so fucking huge that it would be like impossible to actually hit anything, so it was kind of useless.
Yeah. And also, like, depending on what stage you're on, you could just fucking easily lock yourself in and just not be able to move at all.
Oh, did you ever so this started in Melee, but did you ever have a Pokemon battle?
That's like I make it a point to have at least one.
Like for those who don't
I
know,
I think you could do that in the original.
oh maybe yeah.
I remember doing it.
I'm pretty sure the Pokemon Stadium was a stage in the original.
Yeah.
But like what you would do was you'd go to the Pokemon Stadium stage and you would set the items to only drop Pokeballs, and you essentially you'd fight just using Pokemon.
Yeah, and depending on which game you're playing, like if you're playing like Brawl or Ultimate or whatever the hell the 3DS one was, there was enough like Pokemon playable characters where you could all be Pokemon as well.
Yeah, I think so. Just going forward, I believe the 3DS and Wii U games are collectively just known as Smash 4.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of just what the fan base has referred to them as.
Fair
because
enough.
they're basically the same games.
Yeah, well, I mean they were cross-platform, weren't they? Like you could one of you could be on a 3DS and one of you could be on Wii U and you could play together.
I believe so. It's been so long. So I haven't booted up Smash 4 since Ultimate came out.
Yeah, I haven't touched that game in so long.
Yeah. Yeah, Pokemon battles were always fun. Were you more of a stock fighter or a time fighter?
My default was always stock, but nowadays, like if I play Smash, I'm usually playing with either Xander or sometimes Cindy will join in, even though she doesn't like to play because she's bad at it. Her words, not mine. So whenever I play with them, I do time because I feel bad if we do stock and I just wreck them.
I prefer time just because it takes the pressure off and it keeps things moving, so you get more matches in. Because in a stock fight, if you get two really fucking good players, everyone can get knocked out, and you'll just be stuck there waiting for these two to fucking finish each other.
Yeah. Well, like going back to like when we used to have those big Smash like get-togethers and stuff. Like we would generally do stock, and like we would all cycle out characters, but we all had like the one or two characters that we were really good at. So like say like my friend Matt, you know Matt. If he was playing Yoshi, it was okay, everybody gang up on Matt. Or if it was like if I'm playing as Samus, everyone's like, okay, everybody gang up on Matt.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
because I always remember because like we do like stock is great for if it's like one-on-one because it's just two people like going against each other. Time was always more fun just because you basically time was more fun because it was like you kind of had to get as many kills in as you could in a time frame.
Yeah. And that way, like you're not staring at everybody else's score, being like, "Oh, I'm so far behind," or "Oh, this person's so far ahead." With time, it does take off that kind of that kind of pressure.
See, one of my favorite fights is I was at a party once and it was like a bunch of like younger kids, and they were kind of like, I was there because of a family thing, so I was kind of just hanging out, and they all wanted to play Smash, so I joined in with them for a little bit. And I remember I had one of the funniest like outcomes to a battle ever, where we did a time battle because I didn't want to just destroy them because they weren't very good. Um, I ended up getting first. I had 0 kills. They all self-destructed each other. Like it was like legit. Like I had 0 kills, but they had all just like self-destructed. None of them killed any of none of them had killed any of each other.
They were
just
all
kept
just
falling.
negative.
Yeah, they all just kept falling off the stage. So it was like I won but didn't do anything. I just kind of I felt so bad. I was like, I don't want to just ruin these kids' days.
That's so funny.
So I sat in for like a couple of matches and then that was it.
So I know I think it was Aaron who posed the question on the Discord, but I don't remember what you what are your general like your 3 mains for Smash?
I don't think I ever answered that. I guess I'll answer it here. So my mains for Smash are, it's dependent on the game because every game plays different. But if I'm thinking of a character I tend to gravitate towards, I've always been a Luigi guy. I love playing as Luigi. I like Sonic, and I was a big fan of Rob the Robot. Those were like my 3 mains.
Oh, really? I never really see people play as Rob very often, unless it's just like, I haven't played this character for a while, you know?
Yeah, like for some reason, like I just like Rob kind of just he kind of spoke to me in a way.
That's fair. That's interesting. Xander likes playing Luigi. Well, Xander just likes fun. Luigi more than Mario anyway, I think.
I mean, he's the Weege.
Yeah.
He's become kind of a meme lord in like recent years.
It's about right. Yeah, I had answered that. Generally, no matter which game I'm playing, Samus and Pikachu have always been my top 2. I mean, Samus is the cheap answer. Everybody's good at Samus. You know, it's just one of those things. Between the corkscrew and the energy blasts. Pikachu though, like I still use Pikachu in the newer games, but the original game, like you could really mess people up with Pikachu.
It was like Mario in Melee. Mario was fucking like ridiculous, and then like they kind of nerfed him for like Brawl onward.
Yeah. And the third cycles, it depends on what I'm feeling at the time. I believe on Discord I answered Pac-Man because I do like playing as Pac-Man. He's got some fun moves, but I've also, sometimes it's Sonic, sometimes it's like I like the Mii characters. Those are fun.
Yeah, the Mii fighters were fun. I messed around with them for a while.
I haven't messed around with like I'd like to play like the newer ones so I can play as like Cloud and I think Sephiroth is a playable character, right?
Yes. Yep, in Ultimate.
So like I'd like to mess around with them a little bit, but there's so many sword characters.
See,
there's too many.
I love Fire Emblem, so I don't complain at all, but yeah, there is quite a few.
That's fair. And they all kind of like, I mean, I'm a filthy casual when it comes to Smash Brothers, so to me, all the Fire Emblem characters pretty much play the same.
I mean, a lot of them do.
I'm sure there are differences between them, but to me, it all seems the same. So,
see, I was one of those that I just never really. It never bothered me like it bothered some Smash fans. Holy fuck! This is like the end of the world for them.
Well, so many another fucking Fire Emblem character. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, when Byleth got announced, even though Byleth is actually a pretty unique fighter, but yeah, I remember when that happened because I remember the meltdown on the internet. It was great to watch and laugh in the corner.
Well, I don't know if it's changed since then, but I remember when Ganondorf was put into Smash and he pretty much had the exact same moveset as Captain Falcon.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a Captain Falcon. He's a little different now, but he's still very much based on Captain Falcon.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's not a new thing. That I mean, going all the way back to the original, Mario and Luigi played pretty similar. I mean they've distanced themselves from each other a bit over the years, but at the beginning they were practically the same.
Yeah,
Um,
it's always stuff like that. I mean, occasionally you'll get a super unique. Like I remember, like when people lost their shit over the Wii Fit trainer being added, and I'm like, guys, it's fun. Stop, let people have fun.
yeah, who cares? Like, I mean, honestly, all the people who do make a big deal about all the Fire Emblem characters, it's like, as much as I kind of see their point, it's like, who cares? Like, more characters is just more characters, and they're gonna add more. There's gonna be more Smash games where more characters are gonna get thrown in. It doesn't matter.
Well, I always remember because like people would always like throw a fit. Like they'd always be like, I mean, before DLC and stuff, I got it a little, but we also didn't really have these issues with the older games. But I know with like Smash 4 and Ultimate in particular, like whenever like I remember like when Wii Fit Trainer in particular was one of the big ones, but like you'd always get that argument like they're taking up a space that could be for a better character, and I'm like, it's fucking the digital era. They can just add another space. Like it's not a big deal.
We're not dealing with like limited storage capacity at this point.
It's that, and like some people act like Smash Brothers is like their legitimate like life, and I'm always like, it's just a video game. Like relax.
Yeah. I did like that for like the Mii fighters, how you could get like different outfits and stuff for them. Like I believe it was on my copy of Smash 4. I made a sword Mii fighter, and he had like the Rathalos armor from Monster Hunters, which was really cool for me at the time because I was really into Monster Hunters 4 at the time.
See, mine was it was a brawler type. He was in a tuxedo. He had bat wings and a cowboy hat.
Solid.
Just because that was what I found, and I was like, "This is dumb. I like it."
Cool.
See,
I think I did like a Bruce Lee like brawler as well.
See, I just get more enjoyment out of like, not only am I going to defeat you with a Mii fighter, but I'm also going to do it in this ridiculous getup. So I just have the satisfaction of you lost to this.
Well, I also like the customization of the Mii fighters because they had like different moves that you could switch out.
Oh yeah, you could
kind of customize your move set, which was really cool.
Also, a thing that unfortunately is kind of lost in the modern Smash Brothers games, but it was very big in Melee and Brawl, especially. Do you remember collecting all the trophies?
Yeah. Mostly in Brawl.
Yeah, I did Brawl. I think I spent hours just collecting trophies and just looking through the trophy gallery. Because there was so much nostalgia. Like all these different franchises that like nobody really remembered, but like you were kind of like seeing for the first time. Like that was how I got introduced to like Fire Emblem and Star Fox, F-Zero and stuff.
See, I wouldn't even know what any of that stuff was if it wasn't for even though I still to this day haven't played a lot of those games. I wouldn't even know that they existed if it wasn't for Smash Brothers.
I mean, Smash Brothers is the reason why Fire Emblem's even out here.
That's true.
Like, because did you know that they were going to dummy out Marth and Roy in Melee originally for the American release?
No, I honestly I didn't even remember that they were. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played Melee,
so like
since before Brawl came out. That's how long it's been.
Yeah, Marth and Roy were the two Fire Emblem characters in Melee, and originally they weren't even going to be in the North American release. They were going to take them out, but then at the last minute they left them in. And it sparked enough attention that that's how we got the first Fire Emblem games over here.
No kidding.
Ironically, the game we got didn't even have either Marth or Roy in it, but it was still kind of funny.
What was the first one we got?
7, which is that's the one that follows Roy's father, Elliewood.
Okay.
It takes place before.
I need to get around to playing one of those.
It takes place before the events of Fire Emblem 6, which was the game that had Roy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I love.
Remember collecting songs?
Yeah, because that was how we got introduced to so many fucking amazing music tracks. Also the remixes, like
Yeah.
some of those remixes. Like I used to just hang out in the music player for hours just listening to the music.
And I might be mixing things up here, but am I crazy, or did Brawl have like where you could get like old, like I feel like I remember playing the original Donkey Kong on Brawl. I don't know if that was just like a Wii thing or if it was Brawl specifically, but I feel like that was a thing.
So it was a thing, like so in Brawl there was like this little like arcade thing where like you could like there was like a couple games that you could play, but like you could only play for like 15 seconds. Like it was ridiculous how short the playtime was. Basically they were trying to get you to buy them on the virtual console.
Yeah, because I didn't even know I don't even think I knew that the virtual console was a thing at that point. I don't think I was aware of them doing that until the 3DS.
See, another one I remember is, so you remember in Brawl how they had the trophy gallery where they just had all the trophies in that giant like table that you could kind of look around?
Yeah, the ones that were like grayed out, it would tell you like how to unlock them and stuff. Yeah.
In Melee they had a similar thing, but like in the background they had like all the Nintendo consoles up to that point, like just in the background sitting there, just as a little like mythology gag. And I always remember because if you look in the background, you can see a Virtual Boy, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Because like I missed the Virtual Boy entirely as a kid.
Yeah, well, I think when did that come out?
Before the N64, so like mid '90s. So we were both probably like either just born or
We were both still in diapers, so it makes sense that we missed that.
Yeah. We didn't miss much. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I haven't like actually like played one, but I've seen them in like retro stores and stuff, and like kind of just like peeked at it, and I was like, oh,
when you eventually come up and visit, I'll let you try mine out just so you can experience it.
Fair enough. Oh, speaking of trying stuff out, because you've been talking about how much you've been playing it lately, I did try out Dr. Mario for the first time this past week. It was fun. I mean, it was basically just Tetris. I didn't know it was like a Tetris game, but it's cool.
It's a match 3 puzzler. It's fun. It's a great time killer.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like the reason I put it on, was just to kind of like, you know, try it out. And I was literally just trying to kill a little bit of time until Cindy was ready to go to bed and stuff. And I don't know, I kind of got sucked into it and played it a little bit longer than I should have.
Statute of Limitations out now, but I used to play Dr. Mario at Richards at third shift all the time.
Fair enough.
I don't think they're going to be upset about that at this point.
I think it's a little late for them to care.
Yeah, I used to do that. I'd have the machines going. I'd just be playing Dr. Mario.
And I doubt anyone from Richards listened to this anyway.
Yeah, I doubt it, but you never know.
True. But yeah, I don't know. Smash is just like, it's one of those games that just held a spot in my life for like literally as long, like for my entire gaming history. It's always been like, if not center stage, at least, you know, off to the side. You know, it's always been in the mix.
Do you remember the announcement of Smash 4?
Not in particular. I do remember being really excited for. I think I bought a 3DS specifically because it was announced.
So Smash 4 had one of the funniest like announcements ever. So it was at an E3 during Nintendo's press conference, and I always will remember this because this was a pretty bad press conference for Nintendo. Like obviously the Wii U era was pretty. Everything was Nintendo in general was not doing well at the time. And I will always remember this because the convention, the whole press conference was pretty dour. Like no one was really excited for anything. And then they just kind of right towards the end, they basically just were like, "Oh yeah, we're making a Smash Brothers." Like didn't show anything. They just mentioned we're making one. The crowd fucking goes nuts. Like they didn't show anything. But they're like, oh yeah, we're making one, and people lost their shit. And I was like, wow, that shows how fucking bad this E3 was. Because like, if they're excited for just an offhand comment, like,
Did they
geez,
even mention it was going to be handheld or?
I don't think they had announced that it was coming to 3DS yet. They just kind of said they're making another one,
Fair enough.
and we knew
Yeah,
like
like
nothing about it.
yeah, I'm fairly certain that the whole reason I bought. I mean, there was other games I wanted to play too, but like the main reason I bought a 3DS is because I heard they were making a handheld Smash Brothers, and I was like, I've been wanting a handheld Smash Brothers for a long fucking time. So when that was finally on the table, and like me and like the group of friends that I was hanging out with at the time, like we all had, I think at least Matt had one. And then when I found out about that, I went out and bought one, and our friend Jake got one shortly after that. And like between Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, and Monster Hunters, like we were always gaming together.
Oh yeah. Do you remember like all the people like that were butthurt that Mewtwo didn't make it to Brawl?
I mean, honestly, I was kind of butthurt that Mewtwo didn't make it to Brawl, but
See, I always remember because he didn't make it to Brawl. We got Lucario instead, who I really liked.
well, I'm Lucario's my favorite Pokemon, so I wasn't upset about that. I'll say that much.
Well, what's funny to me is like people like they didn't let the Mewtwo thing go, because I remember like when the Smash 4 trailer finally dropped and they revealed a whole bunch of the characters that were going to be in it. I always remember because there was that clip of like Greninja hanging upside down, and the Pokemon fans were so like desperate. They were like, "Is that Mewtwo?" And I was like, "No, it's not."
Who's that Pokemon?
Well, because then they finally relented and put Mewtwo in as a DLC, and like I remember because like they did a promotion where if you bought the DLC on both the 3DS version and the Wii U version, you'd get Mewtwo early. And I always remember because people were like, they're making us pay double for Mewtwo. It's like, no, they're being nice. Like, you can wait a month if you don't want to pay the extra money. Like, get over it.
Yeah. Ah, jeez. Ridiculous.
I always remember that.
I wonder how many people who only had one version of the game bought the DLC for both just to get him early.
Probably. Because, God, people, which is, I don't know if it was just me, but I never saw the appeal of Mewtwo as a fighter in the game. Like, I always thought he was just kind of like whatever.
I liked him just because he was like Psychic Samus. I mean,
the
energy blast thing, that was what got me. I mean, when I was a kid, and the reason I gravitated to Samus was because of the energy blast, and obviously me being a Dragon Ball kid.
Yeah.
You know, I was yelling Kamehameha when I was shooting those, so, you know.
See, I always remember for Mewtwo, to unlock him, you had to have the system on for like 100 hours or something. It was some stupid like time.
Yeah, they had some weird prerequisites for unlocking characters at like around that time. It was like they all had like different ones. I think nowadays it's just play the game and another character will show up. But
yeah, you just have to play for a while. I mean, in Brawl, all you had to do was play the Subspace Emissary, and you unlocked everybody. Because I remember like for Smash 4, I legit like unlocked all the characters on the 3DS version, and then had to do it again on the Wii U version like later, and then again on Ultimate, and then again on Ultimate, just to get everybody.
That's wild.
That was a crazy time, just the way that was. Oh, we haven't talked about them yet. We have to mention these guys.
Amiibos?
Amiibo. These things single-handedly saved Nintendo. Kind of.
Yeah, I never really fucked with Amiibos. I don't know. I never really got it.
I went through a bit of a phase.
Yeah.
I wanted all the Fire Emblem ones, and then I gave up after the one from Fates. Because I was like, there's too many of these. I don't care.
Did they ever add Dragon Quest characters?
There is an amiibo for the Dragon Quest Hero, but I believe it's only the. I believe they only made an amiibo for the default 11 hero.
Well, no, I meant in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, so there's the Dragon Quest Hero.
From 11.
Well, here, this is what's cool about him. So you know how the characters have like the alternate skins, like you can change the colors.
Oh,
For the hero from Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest, I'm going old school there for a minute. You rather than changing the colors, it actually changes between the heroes. So I one of them's the 11 hero, I believe the 5 hero, the 4 hero, which is the one I always use, the 8 hero, and I think 3.
I was gonna say if they don't do 3, then that's just foolish. But
So I believe it was 3, 5, 4, 8, and 11 were the ones
that's
they
really
used.
cool. That's a really cool way of doing that. Like, as far as they don't do that with more characters.
They did it with Bowser Jr., where you could his alternate colors were the other Kooplings,
Okay, that's pretty cool.
and I think Olimar, one of his alternates was the character Alf from Pikmin 3.
Hmm.
So they did it. They did it with a few of them. Oh, and Red, you could change to Leaf.
Oh, well, with the Pokemon trainer in
Yeah.
Brawl.
Not in Brawl. In they for Smash Ultimate, they made it so his alternate colors were he had a bunch of alternate colors, but then you could also change over to a Leaf and have her alternate colors as well.
Oh, I forgot Pokemon Trainer was in Ultimate. They really did just bring everybody back.
Yeah, the whole like thing of like everybody's here is legitimate true because like they brought back fucking Young Link and Toon Link. They're the same fucking character, but they're both here.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think it's kind of funny how people make such a huge deal about separate characters from Fire Emblem, but having like 5 different links is totally fine.
Zelda fans don't always use logic, yes. I mean,
I don't know. Just thought it was funny.
Lucina is literally Marth. Like, just, I mean, she kind of was in the game as well, but in her own game, but they're literally the same fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Lucina more, so because I played Awakening.
That's fair.
I had to import this from Japan because amiibos were fucking like when amiibos first came out, they were harder to find than crack. I swear to God.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of the reason why I never really got into it. Like, I don't the whole concept of like, oh, I got to get this figure so I can get this thing in a game and stuff. I mean, if you want to just collect them just for the sake of like, say, hey, look at all my cool figures, like that I understand. But like, oh, I'm gonna go and spend $20, $30, $40 on this little figure so that I can get like a cheat code in a video game. Like,
so I will say, I haven't picked one up in like 5 years now. The last ones I got, I had to get Cloud.
That's fair.
But then I also had to get Advent Children Cloud. Because Cloud's alternate, he has the Advent Children design as well.
In Smash?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
So they've been gotten pretty creative with them over the years.
Please tell me that there's an alternate skin for Cloud that's just Zack.
No, unfortunately. Well, I haven't played it. I don't know if there was DLC recently, but as far as I know, no.
It's a missed opportunity.
Dilly dally, shilly shally.
But yeah, I don't know. All in all, Smash is just one of those franchises that just like really took the world by storm. Like that's one of those games like even if you're not like a huge fan of it, you've definitely played it at least once.
Everybody's been to a party, and the game on the screen was Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's just one of the perfect party games.
Did you ever do a coin battle?
A coin battle?
So you know there was like the 3 options. There was the timed battle, the stock battle, and then there was coin battle.
I wasn't even aware of that.
We used to do it like when we got drunk at parties. We'd be like, let's do a coin battle. It's essentially you just fight and like you have to, when you hit the other characters, coins pop out. And it's basically like whoever has the most money at the end wins.
Oh, I never even fucked with that, so I didn't even know there was a thing.
Most people haven't, but I've done it and they're fucking fun just because it's ridiculous. Like Just how it's incredibly fun when everyone's drunk. But
I bet. And
but
maybe
Smash Bros.
At some
Smash
point,
Brothers
if it's
is just
at some point,
go
if
on.
Ultimate is on sale, I might have to just fucking pick it up just so I have my own copy because I don't know. It's one of those things. Honestly, I'm surprised NSO hasn't put the original on there yet.
Yeah, I mean, give it time.
I'm sure it'll happen eventually. It's wild to me that it hasn't happened yet. I mean, not to say that N64 isn't already stacked with the games that they put on there, because like almost all of the N64 games that they put on NSO are banger games.
And then there's Pokemon Puzzle League.
Well, honestly, I tried that. It's not a bad game. It's as far as puzzle games go, it's not horrible.
That's like the only Pokemon game that has Ash in it.
Yeah, some of those sound bites are rough.
I love the sound bites of Professor Oak in Pokemon Snap. They're just so bad.
Yeah, I actually, funny enough, I just listened to Remember 64's Pokemon Puzzle League episode earlier today. And it was funny though; they kept like putting out the little sound clips from it, and I was just like, it's so bad. It's so 90s.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave, by the way. Haven't heard from Dave in a while. I think he's still in fatherhood mode.
I know that game.
Yeah. Oh, Smash Brothers. What a series.
I don't know if there'll ever be another game that like hits the world the way that game series does. Like it's a different monster altogether.
Do you remember when Sony tried to make their own?
Was it that the Sony All Stars or PlayStation All Stars, whatever it was?
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale.
Yeah, they just don't have the kind of roster that Nintendo does.
It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. When I played it, like it was fun for a little while, but it got old really fast.
And like honestly, like basically Smash Brothers is essentially like what I wanted out of games like J Victory Versus and Jump Force. Like I really wanted.
There's that one Shonen Jump fighter on the 3DS on the DS that only came out in Japan. That's actually pretty close.
Yeah, I've seen footage of it, and I'm really butthurt that we never got it because, and for what I see, like there's a shit ton of characters in that too. I'm really upset that we never got it.
I actually have that now. I just have not had time to try it out.
Yeah, I like if they ever do like another like big jump crossover game, like they really just need to make it like Smash Bros. It doesn't have to be like an exact clone, but just make it close enough for government work, and I'll be happy. Like,
make it perfect. Make it accessible because J Stars was so fucking hard to get into.
J Stars or Jump Force?
I mean, both of them. They're both kind of like the
because I didn't have too much issues getting into it. I played J Stars on Vita like a while back, and I didn't have too much trouble getting into it. It was Jump Force. Jump Force was weird because I started to play it, and then I was like what is even going on? Because it wasn't like you could just like do a quick battle, or it was like a hub world or something, and you had to make your own character, and like the story revolves around that character. Which I mean, the idea of making your own character is fine. Like I don't have any problem with that, but I don't know. It's just the way the game was presented that just bugged me, and I just never continued.
Yeah, it was. To me, it wasn't so much that the games themselves are bad. It was more just they're not the best if you want to like get a friend into them, especially like if they have no idea what they're getting into. Because I remember like trying to get Alex to play J Stars, and she was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Which you'd think she'd be all for it,
Well,
like they got One Piece characters and Yu Hakusho characters. And
she liked that, but we couldn't figure out how to play it because it's not a traditional fighter.
No,
it's like a weird arena thing, and it's not simple and easy to play like a lot of other games are.
Yeah, it's like the Tenkaichi games, but without flying.
Yeah, and when the game,
which is even worse.
Yeah. Yep. Which is hilarious because whenever I play Tenkaichi 3, I'm always like, I don't know what the fuck to do. It's too complicated.
Well, I think Sparking Zero will be a lot more user friendly compared like I say, I think Sparking Zero will be a lot more similar to, say, like Xenoverse and Kakarot than it will be to the old Tenkaichi games as far as playability.
Hopefully.
So,
but yeah, and anything else on Smash Brothers or?
I think we've pretty much gone through the gauntlet at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
kind
it's
of made me want to
literally
play it again.
yeah,
It's been a while.
it's literally like I actually kind of want to bust out the Wii and play Brawl again because I have not touched Brawl in like 7 years, I think now.
Yeah, I think after this, I'm going to text my brother and ask him about that Wii.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on superpodnetwork.com, where you can find. Yeah, that's a new fun thing I added. Yeah, Superpod Network is an awesome like group of podcasters, including such shows as Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, Bar Silence, Remember 64, Tommy's Video Game Ride Along, Gaming Together, Find Time, The Elder Trolls. I said Remember 64, right?
I think so.
Friday Night Gamecast, all the GNC shows, just Gaming Together. A whole bunch of awesome creators. We all work together. We do collabs every now and then, blogs, all sorts of fun stuff. And yeah, sure to check them out. And with that, everybody, we will see you all later.
Have a good one.